Here's the CycleOps Classic Series Fluid 2 trainer. The Fluid 2 is the world's #1 selling fluid trainer on the market. By using fluid, you get a very nice and quiet ride and also an infinite power curve. The flywheel also acts as a fan to cool the fluid reservoir to get consistency throughout your whole ride.
Thanks for buying a Kinetic trainer. In this video, I'll show you how to install the skewer, set up the trainer, and mount your bike. Every trainer comes with a skewer. You should use the skewer anytime you use your bike on the trainer. The first thing to do is to thread the nut all the way on and off a few times to break in the threads. It makes installation a bit easier. To remove your bike skewer, first open the quick release lever. While holding onto the nut on the drive side, unthread. Remove the nut and the skewer. Be careful not to lose the springs. Install the Kinetic skewer with one spring on either side. Thread the nut on and then engage the quick release. The nut should be threaded on until the quick release engages at roughly 90 degrees to the chainstay and should leave a bit of an imprint in your thumb when you close it. Now we'll set up the trainer. First, extend the legs. Next, thread the rod on the left side out. Roughly 5 full turns will get you in the right position for most road bikes. Release the quick release and slide the right rod all the way out. Thread the tension knob on the resistance unit all the way out so that the resistance unit rocks all the way back. Now we'll mount the bike. Position the non-drive side skewer into the cone cup. Close the thumb lever and slide the rod all the way in. Give both knobs roughly 3 full turns and check tension. If it's still a little bit loose, you can add another turn. Next, check to see if the back tire is centered on the roller. This is especially important if you're using the rock and roll trainer. If not, adjust the threaded rods to center the tire. Once it's centered, close the lock ring on the non-drive side. Next, tension the resistance unit against the tire. Tighten the knob until the roller makes contact with the tire. Then give the knob 3 full turns. Check tension by grabbing the wheel and giving it a quick tug upward. If it doesn't slip, you're set. If it slips, add a half turn. Do not exceed 5 full turns of the knob.
Hi, I'm John from Performance. Let's take a look at the Trac Comp Fluid Trainer. It's a fluid resistance unit. Put simply, this trainer, the faster you pedal, the harder it gets. There's a disc inside the resistance unit here that runs in a fluid. And as you pedal faster and the resistance increases, gives a very smooth road-like feel. The trainer has a wide, stable base, which I really like for hard efforts. If you're doing intervals with this trainer, rock solid, doesn't move around. Base folds up, really easy for storage, for transportation, just really easy to use. Comes with a quick release skewer. You want to use this skewer when you set your bike up in it. It's designed to fit into these receptacle cups here, so it holds the bike solid in place when you use it. This is an exclusive to Performance. It represents a tremendous value. One of my favorite trainers.
Hi, I'm Eric Alberts, the product manager for CycleOps. I'm here today to introduce to you the CycleOps M2. The M2 is the 2018 update of the popular CycleOps Magnus wheel-on smart trainer. In the construction of the M2, we use the same 2-inch steel tubing that has made our classic trainer line so strong and durable over the years. The front folding feet allow the trainer to fold down to a compact size to allow for safe travel and storage of the trainer. On top of the trainer frame, you'll find a spring-loaded bolt action clamp, as well as a 3-position adjuster. The bolt action has a spring incorporated into it to be sure you have a soft and secure skewer contact, and it prevents it from being over-tightened to your frame. The 3-position adjustment on the non-drive side easily adapts the trainer to 120 millimeter, 130 millimeter, and 135 millimeter space bikes. You got a bike with a through axle? No worries. We offer adapters that'll fit both 142 millimeter and 148 millimeter bikes. Let's also not forget the leveling front feet of the trainer. If you find yourself in an uneven surface, it's as simple as a few turns of the rear eccentric leveling feet to level it out. The M2 also has the innovative clutch knob for proper tension against your bike tire. All that you need to do is ensure your tire is inflated to the manufacturer's recommended pressure, and then turn it until it clicks. The clutch knob acts just like the gas cap in your car, and when at the proper tension, won't let you go any further. That's about all for the frame and the structure of the M2. Let's talk about what's changed internally and with the firmware updates for the M2. Internally, there have been several changes and firmware updates since the launch of the original Magnus, all of which are incorporated into the M2. We've continued to update the ride control algorithm so you have the most road-like feel possible, as well as the least delay possible when being controlled by your favorite training application. The M2 continues to support the AMP Plus FEC communication standard, as well as Bluetooth 4.0, so you can be sure that your favorite training app will be compatible. Also visible through the top venting of the M2, you'll see a series of blinking lights. These lights are trying to communicate with you to tell you exactly what's going on with the trainer. Are they blinking green? Well, nothing's paired to it. Are they blinking white? That means you have a successful AMP Plus connection. Blinking blue? Well, you got a successful Bluetooth connection. There's a bunch more messages that are outlined in the manual that I encourage you to check out. The integrated cadence detection on the M2 uses a series of 4 magnets in the flywheel to get high resolution reading of the rider's power output and able to see the peaks and valleys within a single pedal rotation. It turns this into accurate cadence reading. This is the same technology we've been using on our PowerTap hubs for the past 10 years and means you don't need to ride with a separate external cadence sensor indoors. Are you short on time for ride and don't want to fire up your training software? No worries. Just make sure you have the power connected to the M2 and it's not paired to anything. You'll see a green light blinking. This means it's in headless mode and you can ride the trainer with a progressive resistance curve of our best-selling fluid squared trainer. There's no denying it. The M2 has a lot of capability when it comes to resistance. The trainer is capable of creating up to 1500 watts of resistance and duplicating up to grades up to 15%.
So you just got the new Conquer trainer and it looks awesome. You've pulled it out, unwrapped it, and now what? Well, you need a bike. Any bike will do that has a quick release rear wheel. What you need to do is you need to take the stock quick release lever that comes on whatever bike you choose. You need to take it completely out of the rear wheel. Keep it together for assembly purposes. Thank you. Take our Conquer skewer. It has to be our special one to fit into the cups that are on this trainer. Unscrew it all the way. Take your spring off. Push your other spring all the way back. The lever always goes on the left side, or the non-drive side, the side that doesn't have the chainring crank on it. Put your skewer in. Put your spring with the cone facing outward. Put the skewer cap on. Tighten it down. Bring it back over to the trainer. Get it in the neighborhood. Adjust your mag resistor. You're probably gonna have to screw it out a lot more than this one. I kind of cheated and pre-adjusted a little bit, but I still have to screw out a lot. You want to give it a little extra room to get the actual wheel on there once you start putting it up in the cups. Unscrew your adjuster cups all the way out. And screw it back in. Now, you know it's not going to work if you put it in the wrong way. The cups are sized so that they'll fit the quick release if it's facing the right way. If something's wrong, don't force it. You know, just take your time, step back, pull everything apart, and look at it. We have these safety lock features, where once you find the right setting, you lock it back in. That way when you're down in the drops, pedaling like a madman, you don't fall off the trainer. Adjust your mag so that you have proper pressure on the back wheel. And if done right, it should sound like this. And you should have a good noticeable amount of resistance pedaling or trying it out with your hand before you actually get on it. Included with the trainer is our Conquer wheel chock. Simply lift up the front wheel, slide the chock in, set it down, and now you're level as if you're riding on the road.
This video will show you how to set your bike up on a Conquer indoor cycling trainer. If we look closely at the trainer, the side where the nut goes, or the right side, the chain side, the bracket here is actually beveled. Again, it is the shape of the nut of the provided skewer. That's why you definitely want to use the provided skewer, because it will hold it securely. And the other side, it is just a wider opening which holds the other side. So again, this is number one reason why we want to use the provided skewer. First, remove the skewer from the bicycle and replace it with the provided skewer. It's always easiest to do this while the bike is on the floor. This way, make sure the axle stays in the dropout. I'm going to remove this skewer. I took the nut off the one side and I will replace it. The skewer that is provided is steel, and it is designed to fit into the trainer itself. So I'm going to slide that in. The lever side always goes on the left side of the bike and the nut side on the right. Again, if you do this while the bike is on the ground, you will keep the dropouts. Keep the axle in the dropouts. Now tight one side and then flip it back. I'm going to hold the nut side and tighten the lever side, and I want my lever to be nice and tight, and we also want it to be in this position here with the lever towards the front of the bike. So if you have some tension here, you could just turn the nut side tight a little bit and then flip it back. What we also want to do before we start is make sure we loosen the tension knob on the resistance unit. This way it will allow our tire to clear it, as well as we'll loosen these back. Some of the knobs may look a little different on your trainer, but all the trainers use the same principle of securing the bike to the trainer. I'm going to lift the bike into the center of the trainer. I'm going to bring the nut side into the coupler on the trainer first, and then I will start to adjust this nut side until the tire is looking centered on the roller. It doesn't have to be dead center, but you know, as close as possible. And then I will lock it into place. Now I'll come over to the left side, and again we want to bring the coupler over to meet the skewer and make sure that it's seated nicely in the skewer. And on this side you really want to tighten up good. You can check the tightness of it by making sure that the bike itself will not wiggle within the coupler. And once it feels firm and secure, then you will lock that one into place. Before we bring the roller up to the tire, you always want to make sure that your tires are aired to the appropriate pressure for the tire. This will help prevent premature wear on the tire, as well as it will help keep the tire touching the roller. It doesn't have enough air. It's not going to touch the roller. So again, my tires add up, and I'm just going to tighten this until the roller meets the tire. Now it may look as though the tire is touching, but you want this to be relatively snug up against it. If it isn't, the tire will roll on the roller without the roller moving. So again, you want it to be tighter than that. As well, if it's not too tight, it may look like as though it's touching in all spots, but will slip in certain spots. So again, we want to snug this up good. We don't want it to be overly tight. Again, I will always test it by holding one side of if the trainer has a flywheel on it, or you could hold the roller itself. If the tire doesn't feel like it will slip through there, then you probably have it tight enough. Again, if you're holding the flywheel or the roller itself and the tire is slipping without moving it, then it's too loose. So we'll bring it up, and if it feels snug, as well as I always give it a test, it shouldn't be so tight that you can't spin the wheel itself. So again, if you have it tight enough so it doesn't slip and it still freely spins, then you are doing good. The last thing to do is to slide the riser block under the center of the front wheel. And again, if you wiggle the wheel back and forth, it will center it, and now you're ready to ride.